Deontay Wilder recently said that he has absolutely no interest in becoming the WBC franchise champion and that he would reject it if it were offered to him. Well, Eddie Hearn has responded by saying that he thinks Deontay may do a U-turn and actually accept franchise status in the future as an excuse to duck fights with Anthony Joshua and Dillian Whyte. Now, there's absolutely no question that Deontay Wilder has ducked AJ and Dillian Whyte for years. He has turned down multiple offers to face both of them for career high money and rejected every single offer. Now, I personally am not convinced that Deontay is scared to fight Anthony Joshua or Dillian Whyte. I think it's his team that have kept him away from those fights. I think they looked at both fights, particularly against Dillian Whyte, as an unnecessary risk. But nonetheless, a duck is still a duck, whether it's your team doing it on your behalf or whether it's you, a duck is still a duck. And Deontay Wilder has ducked a pair of them for a long time. However, after AJ got destroyed by Andy Ruiz, I personally suspect that Wilder's team are a lot more confident now of putting Wilder in against AJ. And I've said this in previous videos, I personally think that if AJ comes through the Ruiz rematch, the tables are going to turn. And instead of AJ pursuing Wilder as it was before, now it's going to be Wilder pursuing AJ. I think the tables are going to turn. And that rather than Wilder avoiding the fight as he was previously, it will now be AJ and Hearn avoiding the fight. So perhaps I'm wrong. Time will tell. But how does this relate to Eddie Hearn saying that he expects Wilder to avoid the Joshua fight and the Dillian Whyte fight? Well, I think Eddie Hearn is now giving Team Wilder a taste of their own medicine. Eddie Hearn has, for the most part, been quite diplomatic during this beef that AJ and Wilder have had over the past 18 months or so. He's been relatively diplomatic towards Wilder and his team. Most of the vitriol has been coming from Team Wilder towards AJ and Hearn. They've been saying far more harsh things about AJ and Hearn than AJ and Hearn have been saying about them. But now I think Hearn has had enough of playing Mr. Nice Guy and Mr. Diplomatic. He's seen the way Deontay Wilder and his team have manipulated the media and tried to manipulate public perception. So now he wants to get him a taste of the real medicine, and now he's going to try and manipulate public perception. I think that's what Eddie Hearn is doing here. And I think it's kind of a response to what Wilder's team and his fans were saying in the wake of Eddie Hearn's comments about the Ruiz-Joshua winner vacating one of the belts. Because many of the Deontay Wilder fanboys have been saying, well, this is just a move that Eddie Hearn is planning. AJ dropping one of the belts to avoid Wilder. Well, I don't see how AJ dropping a WBO belt would be tantamount to avoiding Wilder, because Wilder is not a mandatory for the WBO belt. So how the hell does that have anything to do with Deontay Wilder? I don't get it. I mean, somebody needs to explain this to me. Furthermore, the WBO have ordered a mandatory. The winner of AJ Ruiz 2 must face Alexander Usyk. The IBF have also ordered a mandatory. The winner of AJ Ruiz 2 must face Kubrat Pulev. And they've put time limits on these things. So unless a deal can be worked out, which is what Eddie Hearn said, a deal for an undisputed fight, unless a deal can be worked out, the winner is going to be forced to vacate or get stripped. Now, the reason why you might choose to vacate rather than get stripped is because, from Eddie Hearn's perspective, if AJ has to lose one of the belts, the IBF or the WBO, he'd prefer him to lose a belt that one of his other heavyweights could fight for. Because if he loses the IBF belt, Kubrat Pulev is the number one contender. I think Tyson Fury might be number 2 or 3 in the IBF. So it's unlikely that an Eddie Hearn fighter would get to fight for the vacant belt. But if AJ vacates the WBO belt instead, Alexander Usyk, who is an Eddie Hearn fighter, is almost certainly going to fight for that vacant belt, perhaps against another Eddie Hearn fighter. So if you're going to lose one belt, you might as well lose the belt that's going to allow other heavyweights from your stable to fight for it. So there is strategic planning behind it, I would suspect. But again, this doesn't mean that it's a plan for AJ to avoid Deontay Wilder, even though I think he probably will now start avoiding Wilder. This specific move isn't about that, as far as I'm concerned, as far as I can see. It isn't about that. It's just about the fact that they're probably going to get stripped of one belt. So which one do you want to give up? Do you want to wait until the IBF strips you? And then that belt has gone off and it's over on ESPN now and with Top Rank? Or do you want to help your promoter out and say, okay, I'll vacate the WBO instead. Usyk and whoever can fight for that. And then if I want to unify with them, it's a fairly straightforward deal to do, right? An in-house fight is a lot more straightforward than trying to work with Wilder's people. So I think that's what's going on there. And as I say, the fact that Hearn is coming out and saying the things he's saying about Deontay Wilder, I think he's trying to give them a taste of their own medicine, Team Wilder, because they've been playing all kind of dirty tricks and manipulating the public and saying certain things in the media. Hearn's done it. Now Eddie Hearn is trying to do the same thing. That's what I see in this particular instance, So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Some of you are going to say, well, no, Deontay Wilder will use the franchise status to avoid those fights. Well, we know he's going to continue to avoid the Dillian Whyte fight. I mean, the WBC's recent decision is evidence of that because, the WBC appeared to pander to Deontay Wilder's every need. I said in a previous video, it appears as though Deontay Wilder is virtually picking his own mandatories. That's how much the WBC are catering to Wilder and his team. So, yeah, with regards to Dillian Whyte, I've got no doubt he'll keep on avoiding Whyte. But with Anthony Joshua, I don't know, man. I think his team have changed their mind on that fight after seeing what happened against Andy Ruiz first time around. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Again, my predictions here in terms of the way the politics of the division is going to play out. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but we'll see. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. It's happening. I'm out.